Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network. Radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
Well, good evening, folks. Welcome to the slightly better late than never edition of the Jen and Rick Show. This is May 25th, 1917, and sadly, I am an old man officially today. No, not really. I won't really count myself that until I hit 50, and I still got a ways to go to there, but I am 1 year closer, which makes me a little sad. Good evening. Hey, Jen, I'm going to let you talk for a second while I go get my Metamucil. How you doing?
Oh, come on. You're not that old yet.
If only you knew. I have that, right next to the microphone, I have the little glass where I put my teeth at night. I'm just saying.
Whatever. No, I'm doing pretty good. Just been, I've had a fairly eventful day on the Twitters. But other than that, just plugging through.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been kind of honestly, it's been kind of a hit and miss day for me on Twitter because, we were like slow and then we would get busy and then we would get slow again and then the phones broke, so I had like an hour to kill. And then the phones came back on, so we were like slammed for the rest of the day. And I'm like, if you're going to break, I really wish you'd just stay broke. So, anyway. So, it's been kind of hit and miss for me today. I've seen lots of people that seem mad, which is kind of one of the reasons why I went with the title of the show today, which is You Mad, Bro? Because it seems like everybody's mad about something lately. I don't understand why everybody's so angry.
And unfortunately, with the situation that sort of involved me, it involved one of my people initially, and then it was branched out into a vast smear of just, a broad smear of misfits and all this kind of thing. And of course, I'm a tribalist, and somehow it got into how we defend Nazis. I'm not sure this person wouldn't ever actually, provide any evidence for these things, but whatever. It just went on and on and on, and it's kind of still going on. And I just think it's really funny how people say, you're a tribalist, you are, you kind of just, you do groupthink, you go along with all this, while at the same time, like them and their group and their little groupies are all faving, liking, retweeting, and doing their own subtweets about the same thing, agreeing with them. But they're individualists. You're the group, you're the tribalist. So this has been an ongoing thing that has been happening in different little schisms of the Republican Party, the conservatives, kind of going back to the primaries, maybe even a little bit before we really got into the election season. And it just seems to have, there seems to be an even deeper divide driven, and people really focusing on really crazy things. I mean, this is really like, this comes down to that anti-Trump versus the anti-Trump versus the actual Trump supporter. And it's so weird. They've decided that the anti-Trump are people that were never Trump but are now giving Trump a chance, which basically makes them closet Trump supporters, which means that you basically want to wear a MAGA hat, but you just can't bring yourself to do it because you don't want to lose friends and you don't want to look bad and you don't want people to call you a bigot or a racist. It's a completely unfounded argument, but that's where we are. And these things, this is a further divide of the conservative side of politics and the GOP being so split. And this is how it is in the Trump GOP, I guess.
And well, I mean, did we or did we not call this months ago, though?
Yep, absolutely.
That was one of the reasons why, from the beginning, I was diametrically opposed to this presidency. So were a lot of people on the station. We've taken flack for it all along. And now we're taking just as much flack because now that he's president, we're at least trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But, you know, I got to be honest. There isn't too much that I really feel like I can give him the benefit of the doubt for because he honestly hasn't accomplished much. I mean, the one thing that I'm happy about is I've seen him undo the Obama apology tour. So far, that's really about the only thing that I can kind of get behind, because the rest of it's just kind of been kind of this little swerve to the left that I'm not too happy about, honestly.
Well, yeah, I think it's that. But the problem is that it's not even. You don't even have to be giving him a chance. You can just be not buying into every fainting spell of the left over every single thing that happens or might be possibly related to Trump. Or you might even support one of the nominees that Trump put up and got confirmed or something like that. And then that makes you insufficiently never Trump or anti-Trump. So it doesn't even matter if you're not supporting what he's doing or if you don't think that there's really anything that he's done that's good. If you even remotely connect someone with something positive that could be linked back to Trump, then you're not anti-Trump enough.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
It's just really kind of weird. I'm not even going to lie.
It's stupid. It's so stupid. And I don't even get why it continues to be argued. But, you know, I do take offense to being called a Nazi supporter, and I take offense to being called a tribalist for not sufficiently denouncing this administration and the way the holier-than-thou conservators, who seem to be the arbiters of conservatism, the gatekeepers, deem me to be. So that's all I'm going to say about that. How about that?
I don't see how we're ever going to come back together, because I mean, this is not dying down. We have an entire group of people that are still actively resisting this president. Look, I get it. There were a lot of people that were not happy about Obama as president, but if you honestly think you can compare the two separate instances of their first 100 days plus and not see that this one seems to be a lot worse as far as people just not giving an inch, not willing to let him do anything or accomplish anything. I mean, we literally had people leaking information that was given to them by British intelligence in regards to this recent bombing. We had people somewhere in our intelligence agencies leaking things to the press that actually had the British Prime Minister call us out and be like, hey, you know what, for at least a little bit, we're not sharing anything with you guys anymore because this wound up in the papers. And it was nothing but a ploy to make Trump look stupid. That's exactly what it was. I mean, look, folks, again, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but let's be honest. He makes himself look dumb enough all the time. You don't have to help him. He does it all the time because he's not polished. And look, I'm not necessarily saying that that's a bad thing either at this point, because I kind of like the fact that he just basically tells you what he's thinking, because at least you know what he's thinking at any given time, because he doesn't have a filter. That's the one, I guess, good thing, other than the fact that he's kind of undoing all of Barack Obama's kowtowing that he did for the first 100 days plus. that I can see. And yes, there are times when it gets him in trouble, but it's also, to me, a little bit refreshing that we don't have somebody running everything through filters and polls and everything else to a point, and then there are times when he like does his complete about face and then runs everything through polls and filters. I swear, I'm starting to think he's bipolar.
Well, he might be a little bit. I don't know. I think it's just kind of he's used to going with the ebb and flow of kind of popularity on one side with his entertainment side of his life, but then he's very used to being authoritative on the business side of his life. So trying to kind of connect those two and emerge a leader in politics is proving struggling. And I think he does kind of go back and forth between the two quite a bit. It makes sense to me. Yeah,
and actually we had Jess on Twitter point out something that I guess I didn't give him credit for. I guess another good thing about him being president is Gorsuch is on the bench, because that's definitely a good thing. So I guess there are things to be at least happy about.
But sure. I was going to say one thing, though. When you said, I'm not sure how we can ever come back together or be reconciled, and I am going to give a not so popular answer, and that is, I don't necessarily want to be. The way that I have been treated, the way that friends of mine, friends of ours, writers that I respect, people that I know that have just simply stood up for themselves, said what they believe and have defended themselves, have stood on principle, even if that's not, whether it's for, against, or sometimes with, sometimes against Trump, whatever it is. I don't think these people have not respected it. It's my way or the highway, and that's what they claim others do, but that's what they're doing. And that particular group of conservatives, so-called conservatives, I'm not sure that I ever want them on my side again. I'm not sure that I want to be reconciled with them. I'm not sure that I want to have unity with those type of, purging, purity test, nothing is ever good enough types. I'd rather them go wallow in their own misery and join with people that are finding conservatives and join with people that are starting to see things a little bit more center right instead of center left as they might have been before. Join with people that have some sort of ideals that I can relate to, maybe morality, maybe it's political, maybe there are just some fundamental similarities on various topics that we can come together for, and maybe that's who we kind of forge ahead with. I don't know that I need to reunite with the cynical, backstabbing, and ultimately miserable group on the right that just refuse to give an inch to anyone, anytime, anywhere, and have no grace.
Why you got to talk about Sean Hannity like that, yo?
Oh, well, I didn't even mention the crazies. I mean, he's just crazy. I mean, they're gonna jump on and off the train no matter how many times they break their neck. So, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, no matter how many times they've been thrown onto the tracks.
They're
still gonna jump right back on the train. So, it seems like, I know we just did one of these on last Thursday, but because we didn't do Tuesday, I feel like it's been forever since we've done a show, because there's been so much that's happened in the news. I mean, I guess people are boycotting Hannity and pulling his sponsors over the whole who was it? Seth Rich. I don't want to say the guy's name wrong, but I think that's what it was. I don't have any of the information in front of me, because I guess Hannity had made this public declaration that he wasn't going to stop talking about it until he found the truth. And apparently, at one point, there were certain publications that were saying that the parents weren't real happy about all the extra publicity, and they just kind of wished that it would stop, and that they wish people would stop floating conspiracy theories about their son's death. And then, of course, Hannity went on a Twitter tirade. I mean, I thought his Twitter tirades before were bad. This was out there. It was bad. Bad.
Hannity is just, I don't even know what to say about him anymore. It's
it's like everybody that I used to respect at some point during this election, they were replaced by pod people. Because I actually used to really like Hannity. I really did. I liked most of what he said. I liked what he stood for. I liked the idea that, he was this everyday working class guy that managed to pull off what I've been trying to pull off now for 9 years. And I know he's put a lot more time in it than that. But the thing that I have noticed more and more with this line of work is there comes a time when you just have to stop. Because you get so used to hearing your own voice, you get so used to believing your own press, that you stop listening to the people around you, and all of a sudden you are the end-all and be-all of talk radio. And I don't ever want to be that guy. If I ever get to that point, I really wish somebody would just tell me so I could stop. Because that's what's happening. He's gotten so enamored with the sound of his own voice that he will not stop talking, ever. The guy never shuts up.
Well,
It's
and
like
and
Hannity
sometimes
with a
I've
bigger
been
microphone.
questioning, like, does he even really know what he's saying? It seems like he doesn't. I don't know. Points aren't really being made, and things are being repeated over and over. And, that's usually what happens when you don't really have something that you're actually, a topic that you're actually talking about and have a message to put forth.
Well, I don't know. See, some of that kind of upsets me, too, because, let's face it, he's got a whole staff that puts things together for him. You think he could find more than 3 or 4 talking points in a 3-hour program? I'm just saying.
Well, it's true. Well, and this thing with Seth Rich, he has just gone and pushed and pushed and pushed, and people have said to back off, and his family has reached out and released, statements and thing asking for it to be dropped, to not continue to push some sort of conspiracy that is covered every single day on a nationally televised, primetime news show. And I understand the idea from a certain perspective of, well, I don't feel like we have the truth, and why should we stop trying to find the truth? But the nature of the conspiracy theory and how far it's gone, and how much of it is actually that they keep pushing, things that they keep saying, has very much so been debunked, is just disrespectful. And now it's just becoming, it's just like a dog and pony show. And it's sad, really. It's embarrassing. And the fact that he still quotes their statements and says, this is heartbreaking, it's so sad, I feel for them, I pray for them, is just gross, because he's just still on about it. Obviously didn't get the message.
Well, here's my thing. And again, this was, not that I have the delusions that he actually read it, but I actually tweeted this to him, and this was my only point, and this is the point that I think a lot of people have been trying to make without necessarily attacking him. Look, at this point, because we don't know what's true in the media anymore, he's the only one that knows for sure if the parents have asked him to stop. If the parents asked him to stop, and he continued, then that is abhorrent. If they literally reached out to him and said, look, can you stop doing this because you're not helping anything? As someone who used to run investigations for a living, I can tell you that what Sean Hannity was doing at this point was not helping anything. It was pointing people in a zillion different directions. They were probably getting tips all over the place from crazy people because of the extra publicity from Sean Hannity, which didn't help anything. And to top all of that off, if the parents of this person asked him to stop and he chose not to, since he is not a member of law enforcement, technically they can sue him.
Well, I think that's probably where this is heading. I don't know that they've actually reached out to him personally, but they have put out several statements to the media in general asking for this to be put to rest. So he's part of the media, and he is actively pushing something that they have explicitly said, please stop running with this conspiracy theory and let us be in peace with the memory of our son, basically. And like you said, there's a difference between law enforcement and between feeding the fodder of Reddit threads. which is essentially what this is at this point.
I mean, look, and again, I'm not trying to throw any stones because I get it. You know, as someone who used to do investigations, there are times when I'm kind of a dog with a bone too. I will get on something and I won't stop until I figured it out. The good news is I'm so small that people don't really yell at me for getting involved yet. The bad news is there could have been times if I was any larger that people may have been getting on to me. But in the event that they did, then I would have stopped because, again, there comes a time when you need to pay attention to what the family members are saying. And for the fact that I've seen so many people that when I said that, and I actually added it to Hannity and said, look, man, at this point, you've really kind of jumped the shark. If the parents have asked you to stop, whether it's directly you or the media in general, then it's time to stop. And then I had people start tweeting me, be like, well, did somebody pressure the parents to tell him that? Maybe somebody told them they needed to stop looking into it. Have you ever thought of that? I'm like, so are we all Alex Jones fans now? Because I'm not.
Well, you know what the rumor is. The rumor is that if he leaves Fox, he's going to InfoWars.
Well, good riddance, because that's about where he needs to land. For those of you that haven't listened for a while, I actually was general manager of another station before a partner and I started this one. Alex Jones was actually trying to come over to that station, and I told my partner at the time in that one that if he took him, I was leaving. So, no, I've never been an Alex Jones fan. So, yes, I understand the guy gets clicks, he gets numbers. That's what my partner was looking for. And I told him, that's not what I want on this station. So, if you want me to run it and run it the way that I think it needs to be run, Alex Jones needs to be the last thing ever on this station. And if you sign him, then I'm leaving.
Yowzers.
Because look, I guess that's another thing. Another reason I'm kind of bringing up Alex Jones, because I just saw a tweet the other day that apparently he has press creds for the White House now.
Oh my gosh, who else does? There's several of them. It's crazy. And you know, honestly, I don't care so much about that in general, except for that, you know, the right would be pitching a fit about some extreme leftist wacko blogs getting access if it was a Democratic president. And so it's just stupid. I mean, in general, I'm like, give press passes to whoever you want to give press passes to, and no one takes InfoWars really that seriously, so whatever. But if we are going to be serious about this, then yeah, it's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, so I just got a message because I had mentioned the former partner who seemed to want to sign Alex Jones. Station manager Ann just assured me that she'll never try to sign him over here, so I guess that's a good thing. But, you know, I mean, here's the thing with Alex Jones getting press credentials. I mean, it's one thing to get him for, like, CPAC or something like that. You know, I mean, we've done it. I've now done it several times for several different outlets. We had creds for the RNC, which I think bumped us up a level as far as anybody was concerned, because that was one of the biggest events we've gotten to. But having press creds for the White House, the actual White House press room, that's going to, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, that's going to give legitimacy and credence to Alex Jones, which is the last thing that he deserves.
Yeah, I guess I'm also just, oh gosh, can I get my thoughts together? My knowledge of Alex Jones goes back so far, and I've known him for all of my adult life as the crazy nut job that like spouts off conspiracy theories, screams into the television, because I don't know where he's originally from, but he got his start in Austin, and he used to be on public access television at like midnight, you know, starting in the early 2000s. And after 9/11, I remember, and I think I've told this on here before, he was like the crazy guy that was like yelling about how all the different various conspiracies, and he was one of the first people to perpetuate that, you know, steel can't bend, it can't melt, it can't this, it can't that, you know. So he was drawing huge diagrams on big, big, big whiteboards that spanned like this whole side of a wall of a room. It looked like a portable classroom, and he's drawing all over it and showing how this couldn't be that, and point of impact is this, and da 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 da. And my brother and I mean, I was like 18 years old. I was about to move to New York City. No, I'd come back from New York City. That's right. I'd come back from living in New York, and that summer, my brother and I, for like a solid month, when we didn't have anything else to do, it'd be like, oh shoot, Alex Jones is about to be on. And we'd go upstairs, we'd like have popcorn and snacks and like drinks or whatever, and we'd watch him be insane. And we thought it was so funny. So I've just come from a place where I've never taken him seriously. I've always known him as this crazy wacko, and he has been crazy leftist and crazy far right-wing nut job. I mean, he has done all of it. It depends on the topic, and it depends on who it was. He's now kind of found his little niche of where he can make the money, which is why he's, spouting the things he is now. But it's so hard for me to even remotely think of anyone taking him seriously. I know it happens. I know it, but it's just so ingrained in me that he is a crazy person, and he, wants the views and the clicks and the laughs, and it's so hard for me to see it as anything more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could see it from your perspective because, like you said, he got his start in your area, so you've seen him from the jump and been like, yeah, dude's nuts, move on. And I understand that, but what I'm saying is the fact that because, I mean, now that he has White House press creds, he's gonna wind up increasing his audience because the thing about something that's that big is it will actually add to the legitimacy of whoever has those, unless they screw up with them. Kind of like, who was it that was like mad because he was supposed to have press credentials and then went in there on the wrong day and thought that they took them from him and like went on this raging tweet thing and was like, oh, my bad, I was going in on the wrong day. I don't remember who that was, but yeah. If Alex Jones does that, then yeah, people will probably...
It was Cernovich, wasn't it, Cernovich?
That was it. I never can... I don't know. I always make fun of his name, so I can't ever seem to remember it. Anyway, yeah, speaking of which, I also thought it was funny that, at CPAC, someone who is there to interview people, talk to people, make connections, actually refused to be interviewed by one of our people, which was Cernovich. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, of course he did. He's a special thing, that one.
So, speaking of special people, the human Pez dispenser's at it again. I just saw him on Twitter. Apparently, he's upset because a recent Fox News poll has Donald Trump tanking, while another poll, I think it was Rasmussen, shows him on an upswing. And I guess he's not... One of them's fake and the other one's not, and he's not sure which one.
Oh, well, it can't... I mean, Fox wouldn't be wrong, right?
Well, up until 5 minutes ago, that would have been what he said. But, now, now... The reason I bring this up, because it's funny, is all through the campaign, everybody but Breitbart and Fox had their polls wrong. Because they had Trump up, everybody else had him down. Rasmussen was fake, didn't know what they were doing. Now he's like, this is crap. Fox News has Trump down and Rasmussen shows that he's up. Fox is becoming fake news, or some crap like that. I'm just like, You said the same, right. You said the same thing about Rasmussen like a year ago. Would you make up your mind?
I just want to do whatever fits whatever I'm saying at the time.
Just pick a side. That's all I'm asking you to do. If you want to be diehard Trump, then that's great. That's fine. Pick a side. Stay with it. Ride it till you hit the iceberg. I don't care. But quit with the flip-floppy stuff. I mean, that's why I've always tried to stay in the middle, because at least then, if I'm jumping around, it makes sense to me, because I'm trying to keep things kind of center as best as possible. Like, hey, this is pretty cool. This, not so much. Why are they giving him such a hard time on this? Why do we still have this huge resistance movement? Why did he just tweet that at 3 a.m.? And why does he still have access to that account? Oh, never mind, that's his personal account. The other one's the one that gets run by staffers, which is why the presidential one actually makes sense, and the other one looks like he turned a 5-year-old hopped up on orange juice loose.
Well, I do have a question. I want to know, Well, it's not so. Actually, I just want to say something. Obviously, because of Trump, this is what we get. And so that's why you have the GOP candidate in Montana that punched or threw down or body slammed or whatever chokehold the reporter. It's obviously an environment that's being fostered by Trump, and this is going to be the new reality because it's what we encourage and it's what we want because we elected Trump into office, right?
Well, I mean, that's what the resistance seems to think. But we'll talk about that some more when we get back because we're at the bottom of the hour. We got to take a really quick break. Got more to talk about. We have dozens of students who were, more than 5 dozen Middlebury College students were disciplined for their role in shutting down a speech. We have the recent organizer of the Women's March that was quoted as to saying that if it was up to her, she would remove certain women's vaginas. Lots more to talk about. Lots of crazy. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through
This is
hell
John
and I
Preston,
don't.
Marine combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes. An album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
All right, folks, welcome back. Well, we're in the last half of the show already. Programming announcement. It's my birthday, so I'm not staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning to edit, so we're not doing an America Off the Rails tonight. I'm going to send this one to the affiliates for tomorrow, so, But yeah, so also the other reason I decided last minute to not do America Off the Rails for tonight is I realized that Dan is going to be consuming mass quantities of alcohol tomorrow, and I didn't really take the time to arrange a co-host, so I think I'm just going to do a special Friday edition of America Off the Rails. So we're going to skip tonight and then do one tomorrow. Kind of like what happened last minute with weather issues last week. We didn't do our Robinson and Wright, and he wound up doing the right side because he didn't get to do one on Wednesday. So I'm going to kind of call an audible, and we're going to end it for tonight as far as the live broadcast here in just about 20 minutes or so. And then that will be it for the night, because that will put me in bed maybe by midnight instead of about 2. Because it's my birthday, and I really don't want to stay up all night editing audio. All right, so anyway, I'm done whining and done shop talking. So, interesting things have been happening all over the place. We'll talk about this one first just because I thought it was kind of interesting. Dozens of Middlebury students are disciplined for a Charles Murray protest. More than 6 Middlebury College students were disciplined for their roles in shutting down a speech by the author Charles Murray in March. The college announced this week, but the students were spared the most serious penalties in the episode, which left a faculty member injured and came to symbolize a lack of tolerance for conservative ideas on some campuses. The college in Middlebury, Vermont, issued a statement on Tuesday describing sanctions against 67 students, ranging from probation to official college discipline, which places a permanent record in the student's file. The statement did not disclose how many students received a harsher punishment, but said some graduate schools and employers require individuals to disclose official discipline in their applications. None of the students were suspended or expelled. A college spokesman, Bill Berger, said the statement was intentionally vague because of concerns that releasing details would identify individual students violating federal laws aimed at protecting a student's right to privacy. So an estimated 100 to 150 students at the liberal arts college shouted down Mr. Murray, who had been invited by a conservative student group, a political scientist who has written several books. He is best known for The Bell Curve, published in 1994, in which he linked socioeconomic status with race and intelligence. Students and protesters of the book said the book espoused a racist view that had no place on a college campus. Remember when colleges protested for free speech, not against?
I am so sick of this. This is so ridiculous. You know, they say that they're not, but they are. They are policing speech. And what is that? What is that? That is not tolerant. That is not progressive. That is not free. That is fascism. And they want to call whoever else that they disagree with a fascist, a bigot, a sexist, a racist, all of these things. But in reality, they are the intolerant ones. They want to preach diversity. They want to preach about acceptance and about learning and of all of these noble things. But in reality, they want to shut down anything that does not conform to their ideals, their way of thinking, or their agendas.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. What we're witnessing, for those of you that may not have been around when this happened the first time, because this is, well, actually, the most recent time, because this has happened a lot. We're witnessing liberals flipping words around again, because the word liberal didn't mean what it means today. And another reason why I'm bringing this up, because the other night I did a show on America Off the Rails that I entitled Liberalism is a Mental Disorder. I had a lot of more Jeffersonian-style liberals that have sent me hate mail, probably since I've started the show, which proves to me all they did was read the title and fire off an email, because they didn't actually listen to me explaining that the modern definition of liberalism is much different than it was before. So what's happened is, while they're calling themselves Antifa, which is short for anti-fascist, they are taking on fascistic tendencies and then calling everyone else who disagrees with them a fascist so that they can shift the blame over to other folks. This is the first step to basically reclaiming and changing the way a word is used. And they do this all the time. They've done it with symbols. They've done it with words. It's what they do. It's a mass effect of their groupthink ideology, because that's really what they do. They get a large group together and they push a single narrative until everybody starts buying into it. We've seen it time and time and time again, and this is another instance where they're doing just that. They're the ones that are stifling free speech, but they're blaming everybody else because the speech is racist. Look, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it's still protected by the First Amendment. Everyone has the right to say pretty much anything that they want to say, as long as it's not something that isn't protected speech. There's a handful of things that you actually cannot say, no matter where you are. Like, you cannot yell fire in a building because you may cause a stampede. That actually violates a federal law. There are things that are not protected speech. This was not one of them. Even if you disagree with it, it doesn't mean it's not protected speech. It's why I didn't have an issue when Milo was going to speak. I didn't have an issue with it when Ann Coulter was going to speak, because I don't like any of them. I didn't have an issue when Barack Obama was going around everywhere giving all his speeches. The only reason I even called out this last one was because he took $400,000 from a group that he's been demonizing for the last 8 years. That's hypocritical. Doesn't mean he doesn't have the right to say whatever he wants. Just means he's a hypocrite. I'm not trying to stifle his speech. I'm giving an opinion.
Well, but that's they don't want to hear opinions. They don't want to hear opposing speech. They don't want to hear things they don't agree with. And, this, especially colleges, but in general, people of a certain intellectual persuasion used to value and cherish being exposed to all sorts of different ideas, to hearing all sorts of different kinds of speech, for reading all sorts of different kinds of, whether it be history, whether it be provocative writing, whether it be nonfiction, whatever it is, in order to, enrich your brain, to form your opinions, to give you a look of the world, and to form that view from your own perspective and decide what you believe and how you think, and to expand your mind. And now they want to close it off. I mean, they just absolutely do. They don't want that kind of exposure. They don't want people free thinking and learning and diving in and just indulging in all of the different kinds of things, whether it's going to someone's speech, whether it's reading a book, whether it's taking a class that, is set upon something that you don't necessarily think you agree with, and then figuring out from there, what you really think, what you really believe, and then what you think is right, and how to then defend that, which, by the way, your best bet for being able to adequately defend your own principles and beliefs is to listen, to read, to hear things that are directly opposing them, and to better formulate your argument, because you know what they are believing and how they argue against you. And then you're able to see where the holes are. You're able to see maybe the things that you don't quite believe in that you thought you did, and then kind of shift and change your viewpoint and how you want to, reconcile that. And that is incredibly important. And it's it's so necessary for human nature, and we are just shutting that off.
I don't know. I mean, not to backtrack over some of the things that you've just said, but I remember when we used to study things for a reason. If there were things that people said that we disagreed with, we went out of our way to study them because we wanted to understand them. We wanted to understand why their viewpoints were so much different than ours. It's one of the reasons, and I don't tell people this very much, but as someone who used to help out as a lay pastor, I actually was asked to give a group of sermons once on the Quran. So, and it was something that the pastor that was running the church at the time asked me to do. She gave me about 2 months notice so I could prep, because it wasn't something that she felt comfortable delving into, but she knew I was pretty good at research and could probably get it put together pretty quickly. And she knew this because she'd asked me a couple of times to preach with like 30 seconds notice, and I put together a 45-minute sermon, which is why I'm pretty good at doing shows like this off the cuff. But at the same time, I took the time to read the Quran. I read a lot of the partner books with the Quran. I did some research. This was when the internet was still basically in its infancy, so things like Google were barely used. So a lot of it was done at the library. But there were lots of things that I found out that most people don't know or they don't understand. Like the Bible is basically a book where you can pick it up, you can open it at the front, you can read it all the way through, and at the end of it you have a pretty good chronological story of how things happened according to the Bible, and what happened to put things in motion, and what God did to basically reunite man and God because of the separation of sin. The Quran does not read that way. The Quran is not a chronological book. If anything, if you actually read the companion books, what they tell you to do is focus on the part of the Quran that deals with the 10 years that Muhammad was actively trying to take over the world, because that was the most important part of the Quran. You always start there first. That's the part of the book that makes him sound the craziest. But that's the thing. If you don't study the people that you disagree with, you're never going to understand. I listen to liberal folks all the time because I want, not Jeffersonian JFK style liberals, like the actual crazy ones, because I'm trying to understand where we've lost them at. Where did they take such a sharp left turn that they think the government needs to take care of them for everything? Because that's not what this country was founded upon. And that's why I have such a hard time with all these people that shout everybody down all the time. Because here, look, if you disagree with someone, there may be a very visceral reason why you're disagreeing with them. So your reaction may have more to do with you than it does them. So maybe you should look into what's causing that reaction. And the only way you can do that is by studying what it is that they're saying that has you upset. And at least maybe by the end of it, you'll understand something that maybe you didn't understand before. That's what college used to be about. It was about expanding your horizons. It was about this idea that people were going to come together. They were going to give different points of view, different courses of study, different ways to basically bring everybody together. And now it's the exact opposite. Now it's a meat grinder. Everybody goes in different. They come out looking the same. Period. End of sentence.
I mean, it's so true. What happened to individualism and to being able to teach critical thinking and have people come to their own conclusions and analyze things and have, worldly discussions and debate. I'm not talking about mudslinging. I'm talking about actual debate on topics in order to sharpen their minds and open their brains to new things. I mean, it's crazy to me that this has just all been, and it was already happening, in the early to mid 2000s when I was in college. There was a lot of pipe down type stuff for anyone that wasn't going along with the typical, liberal agenda and groupthink. I was lucky that I had a few, and I was at a very liberal school, but I was lucky that I had a few professors that did like to hear from me and my counterpoints, and would often, after someone went off on a little tirade, would say, and Ms. Homestead, do you have anything you'd like to add? Do you have anything you'd like to say? Because they knew I usually did. And I'm very much grateful for those professors. And though they didn't often agree with me, they encouraged me to be heard. And they encouraged us to all debate our points and to allow us to have them, to say them. And it's just, I don't know what's going on, that it's not a learning environment. It's not fostering growth, and it's certainly, they might think it's fostering progressivism and prosperity, but it's not.
Thanks for reminding me how old I am. I completed enough credits for my associates in 1994.
Sorry.
Meh.
Sorry. I did go to college a little late, so there is that.
Uh-huh.
I went a few years late because I went gallivanting around the United States, See, I
kind of wish I would have done that.
Being a professional dancer and choreographer and yada, yada, yada. All the things that should make me not a conservative, I guess.
We're actually going to have to do a show about that sometime, because I really do want to get your perspective on how it is that you spent so much time in such liberal surroundings and still managed to maintain a conservative point of view.
Well, we can do that for sure, but let me give you the short answer. It's very simple. I am stubborn. I am stubborn AF.
Okay, well, anybody that's known me for longer than 30 seconds already knows that, so,
I do not conform. I do not like to think like others, and I am not going to be told what I should or should not believe in and appreciate or not appreciate or cause I should care about. So, yeah, I'm stubborn. So I got through.
You stubborn? Nah.
I know, it's very hard to believe.
Yeah, I'm just not sure I believe you. And that was sarcasm for those of you who couldn't tell.
Yes. He was being sarcastic to me.
Hey, it's my birthday. I'm old, and I'm old. I can be sarcastic if I want.
I'll allow it.
All right, so I've kind of monopolized the topics for the night. We're down to about 8 minutes or so. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
You know what? Yes. Let's flip it just a little bit. Other than the, whole punching a reporter thing or body slamming a reporter thing that everybody's up in arms about, one thing that that should be major news is that there were some more videos that came out from the Center of Medical Progress. Did you hear about this?
I heard a little bit about it, but I didn't have time to look into it.
So they actually attended the National Abortion Federation conventions in 2014 and 2015. And they have not been able to release these videos before, but they have been able to now. And oh my word. I mean, the way that they said some of these were taken where they are just they're just recording people that are on a panel, that are just speaking at the conference, not even like trying to catch them doing it. Like they're speaking at the conference they're sitting on a panel at the conference. And then some of them are just speaking to them, in the hallway on the side and outside the convention room or whatever, outside a meeting room in between sessions or right after a session or whatever. So, but again, this is just crazy. One of the quotes is, if I'm doing a procedure and I'm seeing that I'm in fear that it's about to come to the ubiquitous, I might ask for a second set of forceps to hold the body at the cervix and pull off a leg or two. So it's not PBA, which is partial birth abortion. Then there's another one who says, but we certainly do intact D&Es, which is dilation and extraction, otherwise known as partial birth abortion, a method that is illegal under federal laws. She says, but we certainly do intact D&Es. I mean, how people can still look at this and say, this is not happening. This is not an industry for profit. There are not people, and a lot of these people are that were speaking, these are almost all people that are affiliated with Planned Parenthood. The one about the D&E, just Dr. Stacy Dillon, the Director of Abortion Services for Planned Parenthood of New York City. This other one is Dr. Uta Landy, the founder of the Consortium of Abortion Providers and the Planned Parenthood Federation of America. Another person was part of Planned Parenthood of, where did it go? Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast, which is one of the ones that people remember from some of the other videos that's been referred to local law enforcement for criminal charges for fetal tissue trafficking. Planned Parenthood of Michigan. Given that we actually see the fetus the same way, and given that we might actually both agree that there's violence in here, let's just give them all the violence. It's a person, it's killing. Let's just give them all of that. Basically in a way to say that let's not worry about what we call it. It's just abortion, and we deserve to have abortion as a right, no matter if it really is killing a kid. I mean, this is just it's unfathomable to me. It's so disgusting. And so I'm sure we'll be, as people die down about some of the other crazy things in the news cycle, the right will be probably writing some more on this. For now, you definitely can find an article at National Review. And I think a couple of the other outlets have picked up on it. And I know Lila Rose, who's a huge pro-life advocate and works for several different pro-life organizations. You can go to her Twitter, and she's got videos, and she's got a lot of information about all of this. But it's just disgusting. I can't even believe it. The first video shocked me. This just also, I don't know. I'll never get used to it. I never will.
Well, here's my thing. I'm first of all flabbergasted that they held a convention.
Yeah.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. I mean, because conventions are basically celebrations. I've been to multiple kinds of different conventions, and it's basically, it's a party, whether it's a political convention, whether it's, some sort of a sci-fi convention, whatever the case may be, it's for like-minded people to get together and celebrate something and talk about it in an open forum. So you're talking about a group of people that were basically getting together to not only celebrate, but strategize about how to maintain the murder factories, otherwise known as abortion clinics. And look, again, I'm not telling anybody what they need to believe. I'm telling you what my beliefs are. I do not believe in abortion. I am staunchly opposed to it. I will admit there are times that I think we need to make exceptions. Otherwise, we're going to go back to coat hangers and dark alleys. But that doesn't mean that I think it needs to be what it is now. Casual birth control is never what abortion was intended for. And the fact that so many people are okay with it being casual birth control astounds me. The fact that we have a convention that talks about this and says, you know what, let's just cede the point. They want to call it murder, fine. We'll just, who cares? It's abortion. We need abortion. Abortion is a right. So you now have the right to kill your child?
Yeah, and for how long? I mean, that is just such a dangerous thing to talk about. And they go on, they do actually discuss more about about the harvesting of organs and profiting off of it. The National Director of CAPS for Planned Parenthood Federation of America, but the truth is that some might want to do this to increase their revenues, and we can't stop them. It helps them out significantly. And then the Planned Parenthood of New York City, the Director of Abortion Services. But I think a financial incentive from you guys talking about tissue buyers is going to be like the people who we have to get this approved from will be very happy about it. I mean, this stuff is it's gruesome. There's another one where they talk about not being able to initially they don't get the head right to where they, how they go in and they crush the skull and, basically kill the brain, and how sometimes it's like, oops, whoop, that wasn't it. Hope I didn't get the uterus. I mean, it's just gross. It's absolutely disgusting anyways. And then if you think about it and like you and I do, that is a human baby that they're talking about in that way, it's just so hard to even put into words.
Now, and this is my closing point on this, because then we're about out of time. Science tells us that a human baby at 9 weeks can feel pain. 9 weeks. The nervous system is active. The nerves are firing. They can sense and respond to stimuli such as pain. And you want to tell me that it's fine to kill a clump of cells up until, week 16? What is it, 12, 16, somewhere around there? I don't know.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, it astounds me that we've come to this, that life means so little. I mean, because we talk about the German Holocaust like it was yesterday. For those of us that admit it exists, when we start talking about the fact that Hitler basically snuffed out 6 million lives, it's heart-wrenching. And then you look at the numbers of children that have been snuffed from existence before they were even given a chance to take their first breath, and it breaks your heart. It breaks my heart, and I'm not even a mom, but as a father, looking at my children and watching them grow, I couldn't imagine basically discarding them and basically throwing them on the floor or selling them off for parts. So my thought on this is, if we're going to allow these people to basically come out and say, you know what, let's just give up the fight, tell them it's murder, and we think we need to keep selling off the body parts. That's fine. If you're gonna basically stop the pretense, tell everybody that yeah, we admitted it's murder, but we're still gonna keep selling off the body parts. Good, you don't need my tax dollars anymore. So let the people that are evil, terrible monsters that are okay with you carving up children to help fund you if that's what they want to do. But I'm out.
Yeah, this kind of thing is just so indefensible. I have been hard pressed, even some of the people that I talk with openly about this topic, that the last time that videos were released, at first they didn't want to believe them. Then when they really watched them, and even though liberal media outlets tried to say they were debunked, they were not. They absolutely have changed their mind about supporting this organization because, and also for money to go to them for funding this kind of thing, and especially when they're making these profits. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's just such a gruesome business. I can't imagine being in it. What a soul-sucking job.
I almost said no pun intended, but that wouldn't even be funny. All right, so we are out for the night, folks. Again, there will be no America Off the Rails tonight, but programming change up since Dan is going to be off at a beer fest. We're going to do an America Off the Rails for tomorrow night. So we're out for the night. It is a few minutes past 10 o'clock, so we actually ran a little bit long, but we got a late start, so no big deal there. As far as I know, everything will continue to run as normal. I don't have any major severe weather on the horizon for the next week other than this weekend, so I don't think we'll have to do any emergency procedures to be like, okay, we got to do replays or we got to do this. And luckily May's almost over, which is our worst severe weather month, so yay.
Good deal.
All right, so on the way out, why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio hanging out with me?
Yes, find me on Twitter at jhomestead, Facebook JR Homestead, and you could check out my tribalist gang of misfits at misfitspolitics.com.
Oh, sorry. That probably didn't translate really well. I was trying to do the old Indian noise thing, but whatever. All right, so anyway, we are out, folks. Have a great night, and I don't care if you're tribalist. You're still cool in my book.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could.